Hey guys, what's up? It's Apple Critics from AppleCritics.com. In this video, I'm going to be showing you the latest and greatest iPadOS that goes by the name of iPadOS 13.5. So Apple just released it today, and I'm super excited to see what it has to offer. And in this video, I'm going to be showing you why you should go ahead and upgrade to iPadOS 13.5. So to start off, what we're going to do is go into Settings. And then once we're in Settings, we're going to go to General and then About. And now if you take a look, it says iOS 13.5. And the build number is 17F75. So that is the build number. Now, taking a look at the release notes, what it said was that iPadOS 13.5 speeds up access to the passcodes field on devices with Face ID when you're wearing a face mask, and introduce an option to control automatic prominence of the video titles on group FaceTime calls. Now, this update includes bug fixes and other improvements. So that's all that it said for the release notes of this update. Now, in terms of the actual contact tracing, that's not applicable to the iPad because there is no health app and there's no contact tracing at all because your iPad is a novelty device that sometimes you bring and sometimes you don't. It makes sense to have contact tracing on your phone because you'll always have your phone with you, but it's much different with your iPad. So that is why there's no contact tracing whatsoever. Now, in terms of the file size, it was a 4 gigabyte download and install for my iPad. So make sure, once again, you have that space available. So now let's get into the main features. So if we go into Settings and then we go into FaceTime and then we take a look at the bottom, there is now an automatic prominence feature, which means whoever is speaking at the time of a group FaceTime call, their FaceTime tile will be bigger. So this is a lot like Skype, Zoom, and all the other video conferencing apps. So it emphasizes who is speaking at the time so you know maybe if you have them on mute or just have headphones in. Now, if we also go into Face ID in Settings, you'll see that it has been updated. So basically with Face ID, it now detects if you're wearing a mask and you try to access your iPad. It will take you straight to the passcode and it won't time out of the Face ID twice and then show your passcode. So it just knows whether you're wearing a mask. So it has that mask detection implemented within it. So that's a nice new feature. And it's good that it accommodates people who wear masks and want to get into their iPad. Now, if we go into Apple Music, and we find a song that we like, so let's say this song, and then it's playing. Now what we can do is actually tap on the 3 dots right at the top here, and then press share. And then it'll give us an option to share it to our Instagram story or our Facebook story. So if we press on Instagram story, for example, you'll see that you have the option to share it to your Instagram story. Now, this is just like when people share their Spotify music on Instagram, as it gives you a call to action to play that music right away in that Instagram story. So it has that Apple Music integration, just like the Spotify integration in an Instagram story. Now, there was an issue with the mail. So anytime you look at your mail, let's say, for example, you get a new email, it will have a new email notification on the badge. But then when you press on it, it won't show anything when you try and actually access that mail. So then when you pull to refresh, you'll see that there'll be a new mail. So it's really interesting in that way that it has that glitch, but it still has not been fixed. Now, there also is an Instagram music glitch. So whenever you try and have a new Instagram music post to your Instagram story, so you just have that widget there, it will continue to play throughout your iOS software. You would have to stop it from being in the background multitasking. So just exit out of the app and then it will no longer be there. So that music will just keep playing throughout the software. Now, the battery life is still draining a little bit, but hopefully it will get a little bit better. So ever since Apple introduced the Magic Trackpad support and all the other Bluetooth accessories, that's when the overall battery life got a little bit worse for all of the iPadOS. So hopefully that Apple will go ahead and update the battery life, as that is critical for the overall function of the iPad to have a good battery life. Because I distinctly remember before iPadOS 13.4.1, the battery life was pretty good. And then after Apple added all the support for the Magic Mouse, the Magic Trackpad, and other Bluetooth devices, that's when I distinctly remember that the battery got worse. So you're probably wondering whether it's the right time to update to the latest and greatest iPadOS or not. Now, my answer to that is a definite yes. The iPadOS is just optimized for the latest and greatest iPad, so you might as well have the best operating system for your expensive iPad. Now, I highly recommend going straight ahead and updating it. Now, it can be seen as an incremental update, but there's still some performance upgrades and bug fixes and security patches and other improvements that have been made in order to make the iPadOS better, and that's why I recommend installing it. Now, before we go ahead and end this video, let's take a look at the release notes for iPadOS 13.5 by Apple. So when you take a look about this update, it says that iPadOS 13.5 speeds up access to the passcode field on devices with Face ID when you are wearing a face mask, and introduces an option to control automatic prominence of video tiles on group FaceTime calls. This update includes bug fixes and other improvements. Now, when we take a look at Face ID, it says simplified unlock process for devices with Face ID when you are wearing a face mask. Passcode field automatically presented after swiping up from the bottom of the lock screen when you are wearing a face mask. Also works when authenticating with the App Store, Apple Books, Apple Pay, iTunes, and other apps that support signing in with Face ID. Now, FaceTime, there's an option to control automatic prominence on group FaceTime calls so the video tiles do not change size when a participant speaks. This update also includes bug fixes and other improvements, and fixes an issue where users may see a black screen when trying to play streaming video from some websites, addresses an issue in the share sheet where suggestions and actions may not load, resolves security issues, including some that could lead to unexpected memory corruption or stability issues within the Mail app. Now, some features may not be available for all regions or on all Apple devices. So it gives you a link to learn more about that. So thanks for watching this video on the latest and greatest iPadOS 13.5. Please be sure to subscribe to this video. Please smash the like button down below so know you watched. Also be sure to comment down below what you think about iPadOS 13.5. Also be sure to follow me on all the social media platforms of Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My username there is Apple Critics. And be sure to subscribe for more great content. And thanks for watching.